Okay guys, so for this part of the tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to rig and make animations in Elementor 3D, like text animation, reveals, like this one you're actually seeing on my videos I've been making on my Instagrams and different places. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that on this tutorial. So without further ado, so let's get started. So I'm just going to be creating a new, I'm already creating a new composition. It's 920 by 1080. So I'm going to create a new solid, like you all know. And then let me rename this element so this doesn't confuse anybody. Element. So the next thing I want to do is add in the elements plugin effect. It's Video Copilot elements. So this time I'm going to be using a different text. I don't want to use man anymore. I want to use decay, DECAY. So I'm going to put in this here. Also going to be explaining a lot of stuff for you guys so you guys can understand. The next thing I want to do is come over to custom layers, custom text and map, and then click in here and then decay. Now click on scene setup. I'm going to be doing a lot in this tutorial though. This is going to cover a lot. So the next thing I have to do is click on extrude, and then voila, we have a text here. But this time let's just say we'll select the bevel. Let's just say we select this, for example. Now this is looking good, right? It's looking good. So now let's say we want to learn how to, if we can look at this now, we can see this is, it says group folder, it says group 1. Okay, under group 1, this is like a, let's say this is like a folder. Inside this folder we've got a sub stuff. Inside this folder this is another thing inside, which is all the textures. So now inside group 1 we've got this text, which is this one. I can turn it off. Turn it off. You see it. Now I'm going to be adding multiple text to this so you can easily understand what this group stuff actually mean. So let me turn off the text. I'm going to add in another text. Let me say this should be new text, and I'm going to be naming this as Veen, something like this. I'm just adding text, not like. So I'm going to come back to the element and then click on custom texture and then add this on to part 2 Veen. It's there, but you can't see it because we haven't added it to elements. So go back to elements now. Go back to elements and then click on extrude. So now this is the first text, okay? That's why it's on part 1. So the second text we just added, this is it, but it's notice it's still showing. Let me take this up. It's still showing decay. So I'm going to be changing this to part 2 because remember on the other side of After Effects we added it to part 2. So this is it, Veen. Now we have a good looking text. I'm going to be giving this as a red color for this. So let me take it to the middle. So now, yeah, we got Veen and decay. So I'm going to be adding a new, and then camera, and then here we go. This is something really nice. So yeah, we got something really cool. Let me take a closer zoom to it. Love this. Let me add a white background to this so it looks so you can actually see the depth of field of everything. So now, yeah, we've got something like this. Let me take it down a little bit. I know you guys want to start seeing cool stuff, but yeah, we're still gonna get to that. So now we've got this. Now the next thing we want to learn, the first part we just actually learned was how to animate the camera, and you saw the camera moving. If you notice, the first animation we did was just the camera moving, but not the text. The text was not animated. So in this process, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can animate the text to move. And there are different ways by which you can animate this whole thing to move. Like if you come back to the element now, you see we have group 1, group 2, group 3, 4, and 5. This is like 5 group. So now let me take you back to the element so I can explain this properly to you. So if you can see this now, it says a group folder, and then it says group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, which means this also links to that other group we saw in After Effects. Okay, so now let's say I want to animate. There are different ways by which you can animate this whole stuff. Okay, the first ways I'm going to be showing you guys like is using the auxiliary animation. Let's say under group 1, if I want to animate this text manually under group 1, I can just easily come in and select this text under auxiliary animation. I can say this is channel 1, so this VIN is channel 1, and then I can easily rename this. Okay, let me know. I can double click and rename this. Let me say this is VIN, so it doesn't confuse you guys. VIN is attached to auxiliary animation 1, and then decay is actually, let me change it to decay. I'm going to be attaching this under group 1. I'm going to be putting it under auxiliary channel 2. So group 1 auxiliary channel 1 is VIN, group 1 auxiliary channel 2 is decay. So now I'm going to come back to this part here. Now you can see everything is still here. Now if I should come under group 1, if you could look down, it's something like AUX channel. This is the auxiliary animation. So now you remember what we did. VIN was on channel 1, decay was on channel 2. So if I should go under channel 1 has a lot of stuff. It has its position, it has its rotation, it has its own force operation, like a lot of stuff. It has that normal text property of scale, rotation, those stuff we actually talked about, some of it actually. So now if I should go over to that, now you can see if I should click this position and then make change, you can see the VIN is moving, but the decay is not moving. You can see this, it's moving. This is because we added the VIN to auxiliary animation 1. Now if you go back to auxiliary animation 2, if you should move the position, this is what you get. You can see the decay is now moving. You can see this, it's amazing, it's amazing. So now let's say we want to make a rotation to the just text alone on group 2, sorry, it's auxiliary animation 2. You can see it's rotating. There are different rotation. We've got the channel 1 rotation, channel 2, and also channel 3, whichever way we should prefer to rotate the whichever ways you should prefer to rotate it. You can also scale these to scale up and down. These are also under the auxiliary animation. This is because you choose auxiliary animation, that's what it does. So now let's say we want to make an animation. We want to make the VIN to be spinning this way to the left and then the decay to the right. So all you just have to do is come over to your element, make sure element is selected, go over to your auxiliary animation on group 1 because that's the layer, everything's under group 1. So now come over to channel 1. We want it to be rotating the other way around, so we come over to rotation and then let's check which way. Okay, no, that's not the way we want it. We want it to be moving to the left way. Yeah, exactly, this is how we want it. So let's say we want it to turn around to the left. So the first thing we need to do, let's set it back to 0 so everything's good. So now select the rotation which you want, which is this, and then now the next thing you need to do is turn on the stopwatch on that rotation layer for group 1, auxiliary animation 1, and then move a little bit forward to the part where you want it to. Let me say I want it here, and then I'm going to bend this a little. I'm going to increase this or make it twist this way, back and front like this. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this. So now if I should take this to the beginning and then play this video, this is what happens. You can see the VIN is making a spin, almost a 360 spin to wherever I stop. If I should press U on my, select the element layer and then press U on my keyboard, you should see the animation we made. You can see it's under element and then this is the animation we made. So now let's say we want the decay to also turn around to the other side. So now remember the decay was under auxiliary animation channel 2. So we'll come over to channel and then make a rotation to this. Let's say we'll turn on the stopwatch here and then take it forward to the same spot, but this time we want to make it go the other way around. And this is what we get. I just want to keep it at this way, so we just get to understand. This is just a basic tutorial for you guys. So you can see now as you play this, now you can see what's happening. The boat's actually moving. Mind you, we haven't actually touched the camera. This is just a text animation. This is just an animation for only just the text within elements. You can see it. This is just a text moving inside elements. So now let's say we want to make the camera movement to this. We want to make the camera movement now to this. Now we can actually go to the camera and then click on, remember I told you click on position, press by selecting the camera layer and then press P on your keyboard. And then let me say I want to take in a closer zoom. I have to change this to the zoom, which is this one. Then click and then zoom in, zoom in. I can actually just rotate this from the side. Any way you choose, okay? It doesn't really matter. I can actually click P, click on the P, then move this way. Let me just say I take it further to this point, and then I'll take it, turn the camera to this part a little bit, and then let's say I zoom out a little bit, and then let me just bend it again. It's free to rotate, okay? So now if I should take this back to the beginning and play this now, this is what you get. You can see it's moving. Wow, wow. You can see you see it. This is a combination of three things: text animation, and also camera animation. So this is like you making changes to everything around. So just the camera animation and then the text. You can see the camera moving. If I should select the custom view of this, remember on the first animation we did, it was just the camera moving, but now you can see the text are actually moving on its own individually. They're moving on their own. You can see this is really amazing. You can see the camera moving, orbiting around the text. You can see how it moves, and then it's now moving around the text, and the text is also having its own animation. And yeah, you can see it's really amazing. So now we need to that's not the only kind of animation you can actually make on let me take it back to active camera. That's not the only kind of animations you can actually make on Elementary. There are lots of animations you can make with text and varieties of different stuff. So that's just one of the clue. So now I'm going to take you guys to the next part. Let me say under this group, because you can actually see we got group 1, group 2. Now let me explain how this group work. Let's say, for instance, you see this group here. Under this group now we have particle replicator, we have particle count, a lot of stuff there, particle look, you see particle size, XYZ. Now this is just like a folder. Let me just say a folder. When you make any commands here, it affects everything inside that folder. You remember inside the element layer, if we should go back to this element layer now, let's say this group 1 here, you can see this particle look, everything. Now if I should go back to this element layer, let me show you something. Now this is group 1. If I should make any changes, you can see the group 1. Now under group 1 we have vein and decay. So if I should make any changes, if I should make any stuff like under this particle replicator, if I should make any position, if I should make any size, Z movement, position movement, it affects basically the vein and the decay. This is because this both of vein and decay are under group 1, because that's where we added them to. Okay, that's what we added them to. They're under group 1 inside the element layer. So let's say now I want to make, now let's take this back. Now you guys might not notice, I want to delete the camera animation I made. So I'm going to turn off the position. I want to take this back to normal. Let me make this straight again. Oh, this is not a straight view. Okay, let me take this to the straight view so you guys can actually see it now. So this is the straight view. So now if this should play, this is just afterwards, because I've already removed the camera animation, so that you guys can just see this now. So let's say I want to make changes now under the group 1. I want to animate the group 1, not the auxiliary animation inside group 1. So this is group 1. So I want to make an animation inside the group 1 now. If I should click on this Z position and then I move it, you can see the text have been moved. But it's not just one text, it's both of them are moving. This is because the both of this stuff are inside one group. That's why any change I make here on this part, it affects both text. That's just it. So if I should, that's the position. If I should move left and right, left, right, you see, they affect both text. Even if I can also animate this. Let's say I want to animate this now. You can see that's moving. I can select position on that and then move to this part and then move it again to another part. So if I should play this now, this is what you get. Because the top brush is on, you can see it's basically making a spin and it's also moving. This is because this text is inside group 1, and any animation I make on top of the group 1, not the auxiliary animation. Auxiliary animation is just like an individual animation inside a group. So you can see it's actually affecting this. Now watch what I'm going to do now. You can see because this vein and decays are inside the group 1. So now I'm going to go back to the element setup so I can show you something. Now I'm going to be separating this now. Look at the decay. Sorry, okay, this is the decay now. So I'm going to be moving this decay from this group 1. I'm going to be taking this into another group. So all you just have to do is long press on this and then drag this down. You can see this red line that's shown under the decay. This is because I selected the decay, and then I'm going to leave this now. It still says group 1, but if you can notice, the vein is no longer showing. It still says group 1. I don't want it to be under group 1, so I'm going to be taking this on to group 2. Now you can see now it shows that decay is under group 2, vein is under group 1. So let me click OK to this, and then you can see, you can notice now. Remember the command we made was inside group 1. This position command was inside group 1, but group 2 we haven't made any command. So, and this is where I added the decay. So if I should play this now, you can notice you can notice now the decay stopped moving, it stopped rotating, and it also stopped moving to the left. This is because we've moved this decay from the first folder, which was under group 1, to group 2. And group 2, we've not made any animation, no movement, no nothing. We've not even added to any of the auxiliary animation, nothing. The only part whereby we added it to the auxiliary animation was under group 1, but it's no longer under group 1. It has moved into another group, which is the group 2. This is why it can't work. So that's it for understanding the groups and folder and also under animations. So basically, there are a lot of stuff you can also do with this. So let me now take you back to the text now. Let's say now I want to animate this group 2 now, particle size. Let's say I want to animate the size. There are a lot of stuff you can do. I'm just going to be taking a few. You can actually take your time to go into all of them, but I'm just going to be touching into the major parts of it. So let's say the position. I also want to work on the position of this group 2 now, because this decay is on group 2 now. So let's say I want to work with the let's say the size. The size. Let me work with the size to be good. Or let's just say, okay, particle size. I can actually increase this and then you see it grow big. You can see it. So let me just say I want to work with the size now. Or let me just say, okay, let me work with the position. So that would be something you guys will. Particle replicator. The replicator has to do with the position, movement, and everything that has to do with the movement. Then while the look has to do with the size, I think the size and colors and stuff. But still, let me just work on the particle replicator. So I'm going to be moving the size, the position of it from the z-axis. Let me just click at the beginning of the whole thing, and then move it towards the ending. I want this particular one to go back. You can see it now. So if I should play the video now, this is what you get. You can see it. You can see the vein is actually making a spin and it's actually going to the left, while the decay is actually getting smaller and going back. This is because we move the position, the z-axis position, back to the camera. Mind you, you can also make your camera animation, multiple camera animations on this thing. Okay, now you can see that this is really amazing. This is what you can actually do. There's still a lot of stuff you can actually do now. So let's get on down to that part. Let's say now you want to make it, like if you notice some of my video, you can actually see the text actually making some the text individually on its own, actually making some kind of rotations without being connected. Now that's because, now let me show you how to do that. I'm just going to turn off the position movement for this stuff so we can actually get this. So the decay. So now let's say you want to make this let me shut down all this rotation and all this stuff. I want to shut down everything so you can actually see it. So now this is for the stuff now. So now I want to animate individually inside this decay. I want to also break it down. I want to animate particularly this text. Let's say you want to make the white be rotating while the camera is moving. So this is how you do this. Now, so you remember the decay is on group 2. So all you just have to do is go on to group 2 and then go down to particle replicator. Okay, it's under particle look, and then you can see this thing that says multi-object. So if you slide down, you can see enable multi-object. Now you can see there's just deform and then random speed, nothing much. But when I enable this, notice now, whoa, a whole bunch of menu just popped out because I just enabled this. If I should shut this back, it goes back in, and if I should bring this, you can see also affect this side too. So now what this does, this actually gives us access to make individual animation to each and every one of these texts. So now let me start with this first one. Now let me start with this rotation. It says standard, you got XYZ, but I'm just going to keep it standard XYZ. So let me see the rotation. If you can check this now, you can see each and every of the text are actually making individual rotation. But remember back then when we made the rotation, it was everything that was actually turning from the vein. You can remember the whole vein was actually making a spin, but now it's just individual text. This is also another command inside the multi-object. This is what it does. It gives you individual, it gives every individual object inside the stuff control of themselves. So this is also the same thing as this other one. You can see different directions of the text. You can actually see it. They're all, you can see it. You can see this makes sense. Wow, this is really amazing. You can actually animate this. So now let's say we want to make multiple animation. Now let's say we want to make multiple rotations on this text. Now remember what we did the first time when we made the auxiliary animation, but now this is what we're going to do. So I want to make this whole thing spin, this whole rotation. I'm gonna on the first part of the key, and then move it a little bit forward, a few frames forward, and then increase this under the multi object. You can see this. It's looking really good now. So let me take this back now. So now what I want to do now, I want this whole thing to spin around like a little bit of 360, and then while it's spinning, you can see it, wow, and then it just gets to deform itself like this. So under the multi object, I made the rotation. So now I'm going to go back to the top of the multiple object. I can do this in two ways. I can just choose to come over to the particle replicator and then make the rotation. See the rotation here. I can rotate this whole thing, but it rotates. You can see it. I can rotate this here, or I can choose to do that with the auxiliary animation. But mind you, the difference between this auxiliary animation, I'm also going to be explaining that though. The difference between the auxiliary animation rotation and then the particle replicator is that the auxiliary animation rotation, or the auxiliary channel, it basically lets you animate just one particular thing. Like, let me say the whole of this vein or the whole of this decay, it lets you animate it, like it grabs it and rotates around. But if you want to animate anything under the group, like this particle replicator, it rotates everything in that group. That's the difference between. Now let me show you what I mean by this now, so you guys can understand the difference between, because you guys are saying, okay, there might be multiple rotations. So let me explain this to you now. You can see under this decay, it's under group 2 now. I want to show you something now. So if I should come over this create and then add in this torus, I want to add in this torus, take it to the side. Sorry, this torus is under group 1, so I'm going to take it down to this red and then change this to group 2. So now good. So let me just take it on there so you can see it. So they're under group 2. Let me just take it so you can actually see it. They're under group 2. It's supposed to be shown here. Okay, let me create a new folder so you can see new folder, and then I'm gonna be naming it as group 2. So I'm gonna be bringing this decay and torus. Sorry, control and shift to select multiple object. Oh, control shift. So I'm just going to be taking this into the group 2, take this one, the torus, and also decay. So now you can actually see them, they're inside one group now. So we got group 1 and group 2. Sorry, I just had to put them there so you can easily understand. So let me get the torus now. So this is the torus. I want to explain so you guys can understand the multiple rotation commands. I'm going to scale this down a little bit and then take this to the side now. Now let's go back to that thing now with the torus is actually big. Now you're actually seeing this here because we actually made a rotation to the group now. Let me show you what this means now. So this is under group 2 under particle replicator. You can see the rotation now. If we should take this now, you can see both the decay and the whole thing, the whole torus thing. Let me zoom out so you guys can see everything. See, let me take this to the middle. So as you can see here now, so if I should make the rotation, both the torus and the decay are actually making a rotation. This is what the group 2 particle replicator does now. But if I should go back now into this group 2 now, I want to show you the difference between particle replicator and auxiliary animation. If I should go back to this group 2 and then select this decay now, and then come over to the decay and then right click and then go under auxiliary animation, and then it's under channel 2. Then I make this torus channel 1. This is because I want them to have their own individual rotation. Channel 1 now. Remember, the torus is channel 1, decay is channel 2. Now watch what happens now. This is different between the auxiliary animation and the stuff now. So you can see it under channel 1. I want to make the rotation. So this is rotation. So if I should click this first rotation now. Oh, okay, sorry. So if I should click this now, remember channel 1 was for the torus. If I should click the rotation now, you get this. You can see now this is individually rotating by itself. You can see this now. Then under auxiliary channel 2, you can get this now. If I should go to the rotation, you can see this now. It has an own individual rotation. But if we say you want to use the particle replicator now, the difference is that the particle replicator now, see rotation here now, it drags both of the two. You can see this. So now this is because the both of them are inside the group 2. So the particle replicator, what it does, that it takes everything inside that group, and then it commands any command you make at this particle replicator, it commands everything inside that group. But the auxiliary animation is an individual animation, and then inside that individual animation, under the multi objects and under particle loop, the multi object makes an individual command of each of the text inside whatever you like. This decay now inside it. So just so you can understand, the group is basically everything inside that folder or everything inside that stuff, while the auxiliary animation is basically controlling just one unit of that thing, of that inside that group. Then the auxiliary has to do with just one particular object inside the units. Okay, just like we have the, let's say this, the group is the president, while the auxiliary animation is the governor, is the government, while the auxiliary animation, the multi object is just one particular DECA command. Okay, that's it, guys. I think that's the basic lowest way I think I can explain to you guys to understand. Okay, I hope you guys understand this. Okay, so you guys should know when and where to use it. As you can see, so now this is a multi object animation we did because it's inside the group. That's why it's affecting both the decay and the torus. So now let's say I want to make a rotation under this group 2. I want to make this whole thing spin. I want to make it turn around, so we not under multi object but under the particle replicator. So this is the rotation. So I think I want this thing to turn around. Okay, like this. So let me also animate this. So you can also, you can also make multiple animations under this thing. Let me take it to the beginning and then select this and then allow it move forward, and then makes it turn a little bit. Turn, you can see it. So okay, that's not the animation I need. This other one, this is the one I need to make it turn like 360 left to right. Okay, you can see it. So yeah, so let me play this now. This is what you get. You can see it now. It's actually making it turn while the multi animation is also making its own move. I can also choose to animate the auxiliary animation if I want. Now let me choose while it's also making. Now these are like 3 commands inside one element, inside one stuff. Okay, I can also choose to make the auxiliary animation of the stuff. So basically, remember the decay was on group 2, so I want to make an individual animation or a government animation, like the way I explained it to you. So under group 2 auxiliary animation, the 2. So let's click on the rotation. I'm just working on rotation. You can actually do this with the position and any other stuff you see under it. I'm just working on I'm just trying to explain. You can see it now, it's rotating on another axis again. You can see this. So then let me take it back to the beginning. While it's making that move, I can choose to select the rotation, and then while it's making the move, remember it's turning, it's turning to the left now, moving to the left, but I want to make this back to the right. No, that's not the one I want. I want the left to right rotation. Yeah, exactly, this is what I need. So while it's turned on, so let me check on the stopwatch that everything's actually turned on. So I want this to turn backwards the other way around. So remember how it worked before now. So if we should play this now, this is how it goes now. So while it's turning, you can see it's not like the torus is actually moving on its own. This is because there are multiple animations happening. It's actually turning, but the animation I just recently did is affecting it. That's why it's not moving like as the way it's supposed to move before. So now these are multiple animations inside, and that's not standing. You can also make your camera animation inside this. So wow, you can see this is actually amazing. This is how you can actually make animations and rig inside Element 3D. There are actually multiple stuff we're still going to come across, but this is just for the beginners. Now let's head on to the next part. Let's properly make a text animation, adding multiple camera animations, multiple camera views to this whole thing, and then yeah, so I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a perfect stuff. I'm also going to be showing you guys on this next tutorial on how you can make shape like your logos, stuff like that and stuff. Okay, so next, now I'm going to show you guys how you can add multiple camera to this whole thing, so you guys can actually get to know how you can add multiple camera. I know I never said this in the beginning, so let me just show you how to guys to do that. to do that. So on the next tutorial we can actually move on to making a good logo review or text review. So now, as you can see this camera now, like let's say this your text is already moving, we want to add in multiple camera animation. So now we already have our camera here. So the first thing I'm going to do now, you go to the spot where you want to start. First of all, you have to, any part where you want to start. Let's say I want to make this is not going to be perfect, I just want to make a short one just for the sake of tutorial. Remember to press C to change the camera type or mode, the camera mode. I'm going to click on position. So the first movement, I want it to move while the text moves. I want it to move from down to this top. This is really short though. I want this to move longer, so let me just take it up to this part. I want it to move this way. So the first animation, this is how it's going to move. The camera is going to move this way. So as you can see how it moves. This is the first animation of the camera. So as you can see, everything is still happening, but is the camera moving now? So now you can wonder, oh, this is just one camera animation. How do we get to put in another camera animation? Now you can actually add in another camera animation by fixing at this point, because you can see the position where we put. You can actually add in another camera animation from here, but it's not going to make sense. So the next thing you have to do, you need to split this camera in two. Okay, this camera layer. So the next thing you have to do, move it just one frame forward, and then press Ctrl Shift and D to split the camera. Now press U on your keyboard. You can notice this first camera keyframe is still here, but it's not going to affect it because we've already split it. But we'll still have to just turn it off and then turn it back on again. Now we can select another angle at which we want to view from. Let's say I want to view it from here. Okay, let's say I want to view it from down to the top. So I want to get to this part, and then I can just slide it like this. Mind you, can change the camera perspective mode. You can zoom, drag, whatever way you prefer. Let's say I want to move it this way, and then you can also add multiple camera animation inside this thing as a multiple command. Let's say, okay, let's say on this part it gets here, and then I zoom it here, zoom it in. So now if we should play this now, this second camera animation, this is what will happen. It zooms from down, and then it gets to the top, and then you can see it zooms in again, because this was what I did. Okay, so you can see the first animation moving, and then it goes on to the next one. You can see it. So this is basically what I just did. This is how you make multiple camera animations inside of this. I don't need to rush yourself. You can actually take your time on this. This is actually a lot of keyframes here. This is actually small though compared to what most of people have been doing. A lot of people have been doing. So just take your time, go through all this stuff. I have actually talked about the multiple camera animation, the group, the commands, the group, the particle replicator, the auxiliary animation, auxiliary channel, or whichever way which you can call it. So this is how you can actually make this. There's also a lot of stuff you can actually do inside this. So on the next tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a cool classic text intro, and also a logo intro from let me say anyone that sends your logo. You want to make a logo intro with that. So that's what we'll be doing on the next tutorial. So peace out.